Who's heard of Jammers as a first thing? Well, Jammers is kicking up a storm at the moment. He's been on several radio stations. He's got a serious following on YouTube. He runs the Speakers Club. And also he's got a book out.
Now you're tuned into DJ Jammers on Bless Radio. 5 till 7 is the Jam Master Show. Every Thursday there good vibes aflow. With etymology to make your brain cells grow.
Words have got many different meanings, alright?
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial. To make your brain cells grow.
By the power of the pen, they didn't need to use swords anymore. And if you look at the word sword, you turn it the other way around, you'll see the word.
Now you're tuned into DJ Jammers on Bless Radio. 5 till 7 is the Jam Master Show. Every Thursday there good vibes aflow. With etymology to make your brain cells grow.
So basically,
greetings to the blessed community. Jammers back in the house. I'd like to say special request goes out to Ragadi. Excellent show once again. Today's show we're going to be talking about music, the effect of music, and going through our experiences as well, and see also the impact of music on today's culture. We've got some guests also. We've got brother Dougie from SLR Radio in the house, going to be talking about music. Also DJ Supreme from Conscious Radio, and we have also Theo from the Speakers Club. So stay tuned to Bless.
Also, when you get punched, especially in football, if you kick a man down.
Now you're tuned into DJ Jammers on Bless Radio. 5 till 7 is the Jam Master Show. Every Thursday there good vibes aflow.
We're going to be talking about the effects of music, and first I want to introduce you to brother Dougie. Brother Dougie.
Yes, rise up to Bless Radio. So I want to give thanks to the management and the presenters and DJs on Bless Radio. Also, I big up my brethren here, Jammers. Also inside the house, we have the Theo, who's one another.
Doug, you hold on. We want to hear more about you, though, because you're so modest, yeah. and you've come to Bless, giving us your support. So, how's everything going for you at the moment?
Yeah, man, give thanks and praise, as you know that you have to keep moving, keep the fire burning. I'm blessed, I'm looking forward to this weekend because a serious event was taking place where I'm involved in hosting it, etc. I'm involved with a beautiful brother, Michael Asar. So, I'm just here and I'm good, man.
Yeah. What makes Dougie tick? What makes brother Dougie tick? What gives you your fire to? Because I know you're a soldier, you're all over. I can't even keep up with you. Man in car can't keep up with you.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
I want to bring in Theo. I know he's found one of the founding fathers of the Speakers Club. So Theo, glad to have you on Bless.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, Jammers. This is my first time here, and I'm really interested in getting into the subject that you've decided to bring up here. Because I mean, I could probably go on like Dougie. this is one of my pet areas here when you start talking about music. So obviously, when we spoke and you told me about this, I said I was very much interested.
So give us a bit. Give us a little background about yourself, then. What makes you a specialist in music, then, or gives you an insight in music?
I'm not claiming to be a
specialist. No.
I would say really, well, to begin with, I began my journey with music. I'd say began from like around about the age of 6 or 7. I was performing from that age.
What gave you that essence to go and perform?
Well, you see, I'm the youngest of 5 sons, and we was actually in a group performing, signed up very young age to like EMI Records and everything, that kind of thing, doing a lot of performances. There was like television appearances and all that kind of thing, you know, meeting people who are supposedly supposed to be celebrities and stuff like that. And so really, I don't want to dwell on that side of things. What I'm really here for is like, because see, I've kind of like come at music from a variety of angles. First as a performer from a young age, that, you know, moving on to being a musician, then going on to doing vocal and musical arranging, you know. So, and obviously also being heavily involved in the audio engineering process, spending a lot of time in studios, spending a lot of time on the road. You know, I've got a vantage point of music from a variety of different kind of angles. And then obviously then, of course, as a music lover of sorts, I mean, I like to think that I understand music in the essential sense, really. So that was what really interested me to be here and talk about all of that stuff, and you know, so yeah, that's fair enough. That's how I associate myself and affiliate with music itself.
And what do you do with the Speakers Club? What's your role in the Speakers Club?
I am the Speakers Club evaluator.
And what does that mean?
Well, you see, so what happens when people come to take part in the Speakers Club, you know how the process goes, and we have our theme and we have our questions and we have them entertained by the Black House Production Theatre. Big them up there, Richard and Andrew and all the other actors who have impressed over many of the events we put on there. And my job is to focus on those, what I considered the essential areas of what was I going to say? Those main areas of effective speaking. So that means how you articulate yourself, you know, the way in which you put your message across to those who are listening to you, you know, the nature of you bringing insight into the conversation and contributing on that level, you know, and keeping the whole theme together, and so that people can learn from each other in that environment and become more confident speaking about anything that comes to mind without feeling intimidated. You know, it's a nice little extended family atmosphere you have there, you know, no kind of bad vibes and arms going on in there. But my job there really is to actually more or less pay attention to those main areas of effective speaking and, you know, rate those who contribute. And obviously at a later stage there's a prize giving kind of section where those who have more or less performed most effectively get recognized.
That's excellent. So, listeners, as you can see, the esteemed guests we have here at the studio, and after this track, we're going to get down to business, talking about music. I can't wait to hear what they've got to say.
Now you know what the big sound, you know? Jam Master. We got a man like David Jammer. You like Lion, Keith Locks, Whisper. You don't know a General Trees. Hey, Jam Master. I'm going to tell them.
Boom! And once again, we're back in the house. So we've got another celebrity guest has just flown in by helicopter. So he's just had a bit of trouble coming down from the roof. But yes, Supreme, welcome to Bless FM. And yes,
yes, greetings, jammers.
So how did you find flying in a helicopter?
Wow, tough, man.
Yeah,
tough. I've never had this treatment before. Thank you, jammers.
Well,
you're so
blessed,
kind.
You know? Right, we're going to go straight into the show now. So the show is about music, the effect of music on our community, and especially what's happened in the past with our music and what's happening to the youth nowadays. But so we're going to go around the table and find out individually what the effect of music had on you as a person, Brother Ducky.
Yes, again, warmest greetings, and I'm glad to you've choose this subject here, because I mean, let's face it, most of us have been moved by music in some way, shape, or another. I'm going to turn this on its head now, because me personally, that when I look at my parents, right, well, especially my dad, that he was always playing music, you know, that Studio One and ska, and so I had that kind of impact, you know.
Well, did he play actually, or was he play instruments,
no,
or he just playing the music himself?
At home.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
beating the place
Yeah.
with music, just on a Sunday, you know, just mashed on the place with music. You know? So you know, I get a love for music, you know.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, when you're going out and things. I mean, when you was at school, I started to buy records and just getting just buying music and all that stuff there. And going out, just listen to music and just enjoying myself. And then when I started to listen to people like Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Bonnie Wailer, there's more of a conscious vibes now. So it's something more meaningful. Talking about going back to Africa. When you're young, then going back to Africa.
How old are you talking about with you?
I say I would say probably my 18, 19. You know. So then you start hearing a lot of these conscious things coming through, and then obviously Bob Marley had an impact on me. You know. So the Roots thing, right, had an impact on educating me. Yeah? Definitely. Right, but moving forward now, right, I wasn't a great lover of dancehall or whatever, yeah. But Yellow Man, right, had an impact in terms of promoting the dancehall.
In what way did he do that?
Yellow Man was just big, you know. Yellow Man was big when he came in, and I tell you why. It was through Capital Radio. Everyone was promoting him through Ronnie Gun. Now the reason why Ronnie Gun got big is through Yellow Man, right? I think that's when Ronnie Gun was able to clip his wings because of the tour with Yellow Man, right? Now then, witnessing that now, you see the rise of the dancehall, right? And dancehall, it's a dancehall thing, but lyrics then wasn't really saying nothing too tough, you know? And to me, it kind of counteracted them time there. You had the conscious vibes, right? All of a sudden, that was kind of melting away, you know what I mean? Right? Then you had the dancehall, phenomenal dancehall music and everything, and then the ragga and the bashment and so forth, right? And it's a shame because now, we look at music now, right? The element of consciousness doesn't really exist.
Right.
From where I'm standing.
So I just want to take what you said and pass it on to Theo. So basically, you said that music it shapes your identity and it shapes identities. One aspect.
Definitely. And I mean, just to very quickly, that I mean, people need to recognise the impact of Lovers Rock. What the Lovers Rock done? It brings men and women together.
Right.
You know. Right. And that was the more of the people from the who identify from here, the British, right, who play music, or they identify with, and them time there, it bring men and women. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sir Jules had a very instrumental role in terms of pushing Lovers Rock. Right. So Sir Jules sound.
So in this country, in Britain, Lovers Rock was a key element in our in our cultural values.
Yeah.
So I think you've basically said that the cultural effects that music has shapes your identity and gives you cultural values. And then the next aspect you briefly touched on, which I'm going to throw into Theo, I'm going to come back around to you, is about the aspect of the influence of like the movers and the shakers behind the scenes, the people who are spending money and investing and shaping how these artists and the money, direction it goes. You know, so excellent points, Dougie. I'm going to come back to you, but I want to bring Theo in on some of the aspects, basically on the cultural side. Firstly, your influence in music, then the cultural side, and then the movers and the shakers behind who shaped the music. Theo.
Right. My influences are slightly different to Dougie. I mean, in terms of how music shapes. I mean, for me, from a young age, as I said previously, it was always there. You know, there was a constant. I mean, we can all pretty much.
So, how did you first? When did you first get your music? When did you first hear your music sounds, or in relation to certain music?
Well, that's all in the home. That's all in the home. That's all in the home. I mean, my parents, there was a lot of soca in the house. You see, a lot of soca in the house, and a lot of my mother was more of a kind of, she liked Jimmy Cliff and And there used to be these old white boys like, what do you remember that guy? What was it? Yeah, Jim Reeves and there's another one. There was that kind of thing was in there as well. But then I'd say the real foundation really actually came from my elder brother. See, I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
You see, so after a while, then you had the Bob Marley and you had the Aswad and all that. Then at a later point, then all kind of Stax, the Motown, the Curtis Mayfield, the Al Green, the
you got influenced by the soul side as well, yeah.
More heavily, yeah. The soul side.
How did that happen? Because I know you used to have in the part, you used to have the soul heads and the reggae man.
Well, see, one of the things that used to go on is because we were signed up.
Oh, you got signed?
Yeah, you weren't listening earlier on.
No, I heard you
weren't
listening. I heard you was in the group. I didn't realize you were signed. You actually got signed.
You did.
Yeah?
And one of the perks of that is that we'd like end up in these like management offices and there'd be like stacks of vinyl just lying around the place, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, have a search through anything you like, just take it." So we'd go through there and like, for example, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. Nobody heard of those people while we had their first album playing in our house.
Oh, wow.
When my brothers went to the gigs and they was doing stuff from their early stuff, and he was singing along to the words, people looking around and thinking, how you know all this? Because they didn't really get big here until the Joy and Pain album, which was album number 3 or something like that.
So what would you say, like, when you got signed, the people behind the scenes, what power did they have over you as a group then?
They have inordinate power. I don't like to use that word, but yeah, I suppose that's the one that's most fitting.
What does inordinate mean?
That just means that in brass tacks that means too much.
Too much power.
Yeah, too much. Way too much.
In terms of.
I mean, look at it this way. So I remember me going into being called into a room in the house to sign contracts. I didn't understand what these things even meant.
Right.
So they're controlling these advances that they give you in order for you to be, enjoying this kind of some.
So what would you say their motives of this control, this level of control? What would you say their motives were? Because we enjoy the music, and as Dougie was saying, it's shaping our culture, our identity. And you're saying
once you sign up to these things, you're surrendering your creative control.
But why? Why would they want to do that?
You're surrendering where it is you go to perform and the audiences you are reaching. And then it's probably different now, but back then, you see now. So, and then another kind of follow-on from that is obviously that those cultural elements that Doug is referring to earlier on, you can't pass those on there because you're being targeted towards certain audiences, and the message you have to put out has to be kind of benign and non-threatening.
What's the reason? I'm just going to try and say, what is the reason why they're putting so much control on you?
Well, don't you know?
You're the one in
this is one of our power sources. Music is our creation, right? The drum, the polyrhythmic arrangement, the pentatonic scale, all of these so-called genres we have, these are the creation of our people. And they carry a whole lot more power than just simply singing along and dancing to.
What is the power that you say they carry? What is the power you say that they carry?
What the power well, that is it. They're carrying the message of our ancestors. They're carrying the message they're carrying the whole kind of message, and how can I put it? This is what mobilizes us. Music is also a mood generator. Music has the power to it's meditative. It's spiritual. Dougie referred to the Lovers Rock. This is something that had its kind of beginnings in the UK. And then influenced music back in the Caribbean, you see. And I don't know if you ever saw Menelik Shabazz's History of Lovers Rock. Now, what we call clubbing is a spiritual act. brethren.
No,
seriously.
break that down.
I'm joking. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
I'm not
how
joking.
would you say that? How would you say that?
Well,
And then I want-
you have the energy centers that are commonly known as chakras.
Right.
You are raising your spiritual level when you're dancing like that.
But isn't it seen as the crubbing, and isn't that seen as derogative behaviour?
No.
I'm just saying, in some ways.
There are things that look in this world, right? There are a great many things that can be used for one purpose or another. You see, the more you deviate from yourself, the less you understand about how to properly utilize things in your life that are around you.
Can I just stop you there? Excellent. Right. I want to bring Dougie in on this, because he's the first person who brought the love of rock before we get to Supreme. So how would you respond to Theo's comments?
I tell you something. What Theo is saying, I never see it that way there, and I'm going to explore it more, because I want to say that he's spot on. Because you see, when you're dancing, right, two man and woman come together and connecting, right? There's a connection, there's a vibration there, there's a connection there, and you're raising that level of vibration, and ultimately you raise the level of the higher chakra. I never anybody said anything like that, you know what I mean? Because there's a power when you're connecting, and I want to explore that even more.
Can I just stop you there? Can I just stop you? I want to throw this to Supreme, because I understand what you guys are saying about chakras and developing your higher esteem. But when you're young, 12, 15, 16, you ain't thinking about no chakra.
No, you're not thinking about that.
So I just want to bring that to Supreme now to see what he's got to say. Whether, do you agree or not?
Agree with what points are you making?
No, Dougie and Theo are saying that the Lovers Rock is raising our chakra.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that when you're young, you're not thinking about the chakra.
Yeah, I know. I know. When I was 15, we never know about chakra.
Chakra, yes, chakra.
Chakra. Chakras.
So what have you got to say in relation to
I got to say, when growing up in the UK, I made a sound system, and it was based around playing Lovers Rock. And the reason why we was around Lovers Rock, because we were in the party and we wanted girls to come to our dance. We didn't want the Holy Man, the root style. Nothing wrong with it, but we wanted females, because females generate money. In the sense of men come out, So you'll find that most times that culture is there when they say ladies free, because they know once ladies turn up, the men turn up, and the men with their ego want to buy drinks, want to impress them, want to drive them home, want to do the whole 9 yards. Going back to the Lovers Rock scene, it's very interesting, because I looked at the fashion that was around in the era with the Farrahs, Gabici, leopards, leopard, Crocs. It had a whole scene around it, and that scene was, when you look at it, was stylish as well. Because when we look at it, every weekend, we were, I don't know about you, I remember visiting a shop in Tottenham called Davis, and you just go to Davis.
Yeah, I remember Davis.
I mentioned that. And for those that couldn't afford, let's say, Farrah slacks, they were getting Green Line. I don't know if anyone remembers Green Line slacks, right? And if you couldn't afford the designer Cecil G, you would go to Marks and Spencer's and buy a crew neck. So there was a whole scene around looking good, because you want to meet somebody that night and enjoy their company. It's total strangers. You may even dance with more than one person in a manner that your mum wouldn't like, or your parents wouldn't like to see you in, that situation. But Lovers Rock, for me, it's just so much good memories from that genre of music.
Right, Supreme, can you hold it there? We're going to come back on the top, because we've got some interesting points that have been raised, especially by everybody, really. And Theo, especially, I think we're going to go in the direction of Theo, where he's talking about the chakra and the higher development of our cultural relation to music. So after this track, we'll be coming back, and also we'll be opening the phone line for you to share your points.
Hello, mate.
Well, go on.
What day of the week is it?
What you ask me them question for?
I just wanted to know.
It's Thursday.
Oh.
And you know what I go on Thursday?
No, tell me, mate.
It's the Jam Master Show.
Alright.
On Bless Radio.
Nice one.
Things sweet like Jamaican mango. Put a G and a O that spells go.
Love it, mate.
Remember to turn on your radio and switch on your stereo.
Oh, I'm doing that now.
Oh, DJ Jammers I play right now.
Cheers.
David Summers, David Swally Philistine, and it's just like Samson, just like Samson, just like Samson.
Yeah, we're back again. The short break. We had played a Lovers Rock track with you, boy, Black Harmony, and we had some topics that we're going to go back into. But firstly, DJ Supreme says he actually knows Black Harmony.
Well, I want to correct you there, and Jam Master, you're doing an excellent show, but it's a group called Revelation.
All right.
Revelation. I remember when they brought that track out.
I was just testing you, you know.
Yeah, he was testing me. There was also a group. There's lots of groups that came out. But what really happened? They were more. Most of Lovers Rock were girls, and they were young girls singing about being kind, looking for their man. Their man's gone. All sorts of stories that they. And I used to think. Now I'm older. I used to think, but you're 15 and you're 16. What do you know about man and situation and man's left you? You know. But yeah, the Lovers Rock era. You've just got me in this nostalgia mode now. You know, you really shook me today. Yeah, but I just want to jump back to something that Theo said, not to do with the shackles, but to do with the business side.
Get some tissues for us.
Yeah, the business side of the music. When you really look at any form of music, they don't want you to understand the music. They want to put you in debt. You know, because most of the times, I don't know about it with you as an artist, they would give you an advance. And off that advance, they don't tell you that they're actually running up a bill. Your travelling, your expenses, what it costs to produce the record. And they won't tell you to the end of your contract that you still owe them. So you're still tied. So they may even if you come out of your contract, right, they could say, you know what, if you go to another record company, we still want to recoup our losses off the next album you're going to produce. And that's what caught out a lot of groups back in the day. I know friends of mine who has actually done albums just to pay back and recoup their advances, which is absolutely like, you might think they're not around, but they'd be producing albums just to get rid of the debt that was owed. Because back in the day, even my friend said, you know what, we're talking about the 80s, he said, I had 20 grand in my account at one time. I never knew that the business would swallow it up so easy. You know, he thought he was the Don Dada because he was licensed to, you know, a good independent label. You know, but at the end of the day, they come back to recruit their, what do you call it, advances. And that's what happened to a lot of what, as independents, one genre of music that I saw got swallowed up, and that's why it's not around so much now, is jungle. They started to make you go and sample. They started to make you go and violate so that they can get back their royalties to say, you know what, now that you've charted, you use this sample, you've used that, you've broken here, we want X amount of your sales. Yeah. We want to recoup that money. And one group, I know I'm slightly straying, people might not know this group, but they were big in it, was Shut Up and Dance. And what Shut Up and Dance done, they put out a track called I'm Raving, yeah? But it was, the melody was off I'm Walking Through Memphis. I don't know, it was a big track. Yeah. But it charted at number 2, and that's the problem with a lot of not understanding the business, because sometimes they deliberately make you not understand because they're coming to sue you or get back that money. They shut down Shut Up and Dance, even though they were at number 2 in the top of the pops charts. The one thing why I saw them shut them down at number 2, they don't want them to have a number 1. Number 1 in a country, especially the UK, is like, you're the Dun Dada. You know, you notice that Janet Kay came in the charts. She never went to number 1. Most reggae always go to number 2. They always try and topple it. Even if they're going to bring Bob the Builder in, you're not going to get number 1 in the top charts. You know, the industry is very cartellish, I would say. You know, controlled. As much as you might, you know, you might get in, and strike. Oh yeah, you got a hit, but try getting another and another. It's hard. You know, the music industry is hard.
Yeah, I just want to. You've made some big points there, and I just want to throw that to Theo before it goes back to Dougie. What do you think the motivation? Why is the motivation of the people to treat us or to treat their artists in such a way, Theo? What, just based on what Supreme was saying.
Well, hello.
Yes, you're coming through.
So Supreme has pretty much laid a lot of stuff out there. I mean, I can look back at the experience I had on this. He pretty much touched on that very early in what he was saying, because there was a lot of money being thrown out there, but then obviously there was a lot of, there were things like, fancy big, limousine type cars coming down to pick you up and take you to various venues and this kind of thing.
But I just want to touch on before. Sorry, Phil. But what is the reason? Why do they treat the artists in such a sort of wicked or manner that are detrimental to the artists? Why are they doing this? The companies. What is the motivation? If you've got artists, I thought you want to develop the artists and for longevity. So why would they sort of have an artist and tie them to these contracts and hold them in such a way that the artists are not going to be able to survive?
There's many reasons why they do that, and it still goes on now. I mean, a certain artist will be signed in order to actually prevent them from becoming bigger than somebody who they are actually more accomplished than. If that makes sense to you, then that will be done, and then obviously the nature of their career will be manipulated in a certain way. Their creative output will be stifled. Those kind of things will happen. But obviously, the reason why the exploitation takes place in the first place is obviously for them to make their bottom line. They don't necessarily have to shed loads of money off you, because there's a whole lot of other artists who are obviously marketable to the people they're trying to reach more than you are. The impression has to be given that you're actually getting something beneficial out of it, when in the meantime you're actually being, it's like it's going in one hand and they're taking it out the other out the other side. So that bottom line remains unchanged up until now, which is why a lot of artists now have really have moved in the direction of controlling their business side of their dealings more, and then setting up their own labels, having their own kind of forming their own distribution networks and stuff like that. But then you're still really going to eventually having to knock heads with the big boys in the end anyway. But then why it ultimately comes down to is more or less to control the market, right? Genre's one way of doing that. Control the distribution, control the message as well. So the whole economic outcome of it has to be controlled, because obviously if you have a certain background, you have a certain political orientation, right? And if you then start to benefit and get really big, and you don't have your principles compromised in any way, you're going to send what you earn or whatever it is you make out of that to benefit whole groups of people that these people do not want to see benefit from your efforts.
I'm just going to say, do you think that's what implicit to killing the musicians like Lovers Rock, why it died out, and what Supreme was saying, that the artists got tied to these contracts, and as you're saying now, the objective behind these, the record companies actually brought detrimental and killed our music. Is that what you're saying as well?
Yeah, it did.
Mm-hmm. Right, I just want to bring Doug in because Supreme wants to come back.
Oh, let's bring
Supreme coming.
I just want to mention that music is about disposable income, so it's always aimed at a certain age group. Now, the Lovers Rock age group, why it would fade away, because that age group is now moved on. So the music will cater for a younger generation that's coming up. You'll find out that if you look at any music that is successful, it's based on youngsters buying music because it's disposable income. I just want to mention something. I just want to mention, because to touch on what Theo said about creativity. And creativity is very important, because that's what makes an artist. And one of the artists that I've seen fall, who is a very great artist, still today she's a great artist, is Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill brought out an album called
Miseducation.
Yeah, Miseducation. Came with a very, very positive message. Track for track, that album smashed it. 19 years later, people are still playing her music, yeah? What's happened since then? She tried to put out another music with positive music and positive creativity. The industry said, no, we don't want you to do that. It sent her to have a breakdown, apart from her marriage. But that's what happens when they control you. I see the same with, I tell you who I see the same problem with. Public Enemy. Public Enemy were going on good. They were giving the people to fight the power. Then one person in the group said something against Jewish people. Bang, the group's gone. They've got that. They've got you. They're saying, well, you know what? We need to control your creativity. Music is about control. If you've got too much power with your music, with the message, you always find that they're going to stunt your growth. Yeah. The same with, I could say, on the reggae scene. We touched on it the other day. Shabba Ranks. Shabba Ranks made a comment. From when he made the comment, his career was cut, chopped. You get what I mean? He was flying the flag for reggae, even though some people say it's slack lyrics, he was slack and this and that. But he went on like, let's say, on a promotional tip to go on a show and said his views in 1992. Today, Shabba is still suffering. Buju is suffering. When you have a social message, right, and it gets to the people, there's always someone out there to bring you and chop you down from what you say or what you do.
Right, thank you for that, Supreme. I want to throw that what Supreme and Theo's been saying about the industry. What's your views?
I think we're putting into perspective, you know, from what Supreme and what Theo is saying, you know, it's about control, right? You know, you see, you know, you're in school, right? And you're in the playground. You're having a bit of fun, you run up and down. This group's playing football, this person's playing rounders. Everybody's having fun, right? But the bell has rang now. It's time for you to come inside and keep yourself quiet, right? So what they're saying to you, have a little fun, run up and down the place, make as much money, make as much noise as anything. But, you know, we are the masters. We run things. Your fun's up, come inside, keep yourself quiet. Like Theo's saying that, you know, yes, you're the done for a little bit now, right? But the next dollar coming after you, move out the way now. And that's how they have us.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's about control.
Yeah. And as another point that you touched on as well is the identity and the cultural. Everybody's touched on cultural values. So do you say, because would you say that in our time or in the past, your cultural values, that your parents played the music and you was influenced by the parents, but nowadays, because the parents are not there, and the youths are being creative, but they're creating the music without their parents' influence, and there's no real cultural value in the music. Would you say that's an element?
To some extent, I would say so. Because obviously, I'm not really a scholar person like Theo and Supreme in terms of be up to date in terms of the music and so forth. But from listening, what listen I do listen to it, the reason that kind of cultural input come from the young people. Mm-hmm. But that's I could be totally wrong in saying that. I must admit, we listen to certain kind of rap artists, right? Certain one, I must admit, there's that kind of cultural identity.
So about I would say that, as we say, like Lovers Rock, Roots was more family orientated, where now the music nowadays is more gang orientated, which is away from the family.
No, absolutely. And you see, the thing is that.
Greetings, brother Doggy and Crew.
That's totally.
We got a caller. Yeah. Greetings, caller.
Brother Doggy and Crew. Now I'm listening to your argument just coming from Edmonton, and I think very, very important.
Big up yourself, man.
Respect.
Right. So you talk about Lauryn Hill and them. I met Lauryn Hill back in his 80s in America, right? Very good purple singer. I gotta give it over the Fugees, yeah. Right, but you see the same thing about this music business now. Remember, Bob Marley, yes?
Yeah.
The most chronic music out there, Bob Marley. Do you know Bob Marley's never had a #1 hit? Old Bob Marley music is all over the world.
Really?
Yet he never had a #1 hit. Because of what? bigger people said, no, we got to keep it on top. Bob Marley music are very powerful, as you know. Yes? So if you can cut down Bob Marley, who else we can cut down? Look at the same chapter. It's so simple. You get my play?
Yeah.
Because Bob's never had a number, and how come man make so much great music and uplifting music, never had a
number one. Be serious, sir,
Now, think about it. So everything we go around, they already set the pace from day one, with the stab or the Beanie Man or whatever you want to tell me. Look on Buju Banton, because they couldn't get him, they framed him and set him up. So, Benjamin, we know the thing. So we have to start control our things and make sure that we got the full power, that we're the producer, we're the things that say, you can't unless we're doing this. And that's the problem we have. From back in the 70s, as I started playing this as a sound system, and for years I'm playing this and setting it up to this day, it's just a total robbery. We don't get no royalty, we don't get nothing, Benjamin. Chris Blackwell and the whole of them, we can call them and I'm fit because me work with them, man, among Prince Lincoln and them, and the man is a robber, Anyway, have a blessed day.
Yeah, man, give time for
Yes, Dragon. Does anyone in the studio want to come back with a...
Yeah, I want to touch on what he's saying. And one of the antics...
Thank you, Dragon.
One of the antics and tricks that was going back in the day is that if your song was climbing at the charts, they actually had people that would go around the shops that do the chart returns and kept buying. They would actually buy the music to push you down. They used to go to... And these shops were how can I explain it? People weren't not meant to know where these shops were, where they do, because the charts are based on the shop's sales. But obviously, because you control the industry, you know, okay, right, we're going to come to your shop and we're just going to buy all your albums of, let's say, Wham, to push off, let's say, Shabba or whatever, and they just go round to certain shops that have the chart returns. And that's what they were doing. So sometimes you would realise, how did this person just release a track and they're number one straight away? It's virtually impossible. You know what that's saying? That everybody on that day went in the shop and bought that track to push them at number one. When you're going in the charts, you don't go straight to number one. You climb up, technically. So when someone just flies in at number one, you know that the chart returns, they've been doing some, you know, people were actually paid, like I said, to go and buy the music, and they would dump it. Or what they would do, another trick they used to do, tactic is, if you buy, you know, as a shop, if you were to buy, let's say, if you were to buy George Michael, we'll give you Boy George free, we'll give you this group free for you to sell. Like a perk. So there was perks involved. There's a lot of... And then you got the payola was going on, where people were getting paid to say, oh, fantastic track from... there was a lot. So, you know, anyone that I see as a reggae artist, or an artist I know, get in the top 10, I have to shake my hand. Because you're going in an industry that's controlled.
Yeah, but you see, that's why Dragon, who just phoned in, expressed that. That's why we need to control the industry. You know, that's what it comes down to, because they do not have our own interest at heart. You know what I mean? They were users and abusers, get what they want from us, and they said, push us one side. So what we need to do, have a plan B. We're in control now, right?
So that's key what you said. I just want to bring Theo in on this. So, Theo, how would we control the music? What steps can we take to control the music?
Well, that's pretty straightforward, really. I mean, all you have to do is you look at the process, right? You look at the process. So it begins with the artist. Yeah, it begins with the artist. What material that artist is composing, producing, performing. You see, so it's before you even get to the point where you're even marketing that person in terms of a wide aspect, in terms of raising their profile in the public domain, right? You have to really promote them at a certain level where they will get that support, so people need to even know that they're out there. So you're controlling it right from the very start, because I mean, like when I was young now, you'd have these people. I don't even remember where these people turned up from, but they must have come. They must have come from somewhere because they're trawling these places. So they'll be in the clubs, places like QBs and everything like that. Yeah, I was running around in that place like as a little boy. But these people are in there. When if they're not in there, they've got someone planted in there to say, well, hey, I've seen these guys and these young five black guys, yeah, they're really good. Next thing you know, this person's come along. They're dangling this carrot in front of people's faces, and no one really understands the real intricacies of all of that. So it's got to start right from that level. You've got to find these people before the vultures and the vampires and the wolves get to them, because they've got all of this incentive to lay before them and say, but then obviously it's all conditional, because it's political as well, you see. And at that base level, you need to appeal to these artists and let them know that when it comes down to outside of our communities, then you're nothing more really than just being their entertainment.
I wonder if I could just jump in here. Just to round up what Theo said, or ask a question. Do you think that when it comes to music, but a business side of it rather, we're more naive? We don't seem to just take things for granted. You know what I mean? That everything will be all right, but the business side of it, we're a bit naive. We're that kind of business, professional mindset. I just want to bring into the mix, because from what you're saying, it's coming that we're very naive.
I'd just like to jump in what you just said, because I said there's a joke going around that the genie appeared and he asked the black man what he wanted, and he asked the Jewish man what he wanted, and the black man said, I want a big recording contract where I'm making £10 million and I want a big car. And yeah, he didn't even say about a house. And then the Jewish man said, I just want a business card and the black man's phone number. You see, and I think that ties in with these people are skilled in manipulating and power. Where we haven't had the opportunity to come into power on any aspect in a certain way. So there's a certain naivety in how we conduct our matters. Theo?
Right. So just continuing on what Dougie said there is like, let's try and keep in mind that essentially, we're talking about music, but we're also talking about a whole lot of other things in which music plays a part. So what I mean by that is that, we keep saying this word mindset. You're producing music. What is your purpose for producing music? Other than exploring the range of creativity, that we get that part of it, you see. Now there are, as Dougie said, are there people that's naive to the actual machinations and workings of within the industry? Hell no, we don't. You have people at every level within this, you see. What you have to ask the question is not whether they understand the workings of the environment that they're operating in, is what are their incentives? What are their mindset? Which team are they backing for? Because we got lots of sellouts in the music industry as well. And as long as they get their kickbacks and get to live large, they don't mind selling you down the river. They don't mind doing that.
I just want to get back to both of what you're saying on the chakra and the higher level. Basically, as well, I see that music has been taken and used as a brainwashing tool. This is where they saw that, and propaganda. So they've seen how they can use the power of music to brainwash it and control people. So, and when Dougie was saying that, you were saying that we had an innocence about music. Music was for us to, come together culturally, form friendships and enjoyment. And where they've got another ulterior motive, and this is what they've done and come in and corrupted the music. So.
Well, you have to dilute and simplify these things, right? Go back to the source, right? Most of the it's an essayist from the United States, a guy named Ralph Wiley, who said, listen, if it weren't for black people, there's no telling what the world would be listening to right now, right? And he also said...
So can you say who said that again?
A guy named Ralph Wiley. He's an ancestor now. A brilliant essayist, who, kind of like predates the Cornell West and the Ta-Nehisi Coates and...
So what did he say again for the listeners?
He said, well, without our contribution to this area of the creative sphere, then there'd be no telling what we'd be listening to right now. Because look, music advances only in two essential ways.
What are they?
innovation and appropriation.
What's appropriation?
Appropriation is taking elements of an authentic creation and then fusing it into another in order to give it more credibility.
Could you give an example of what you just said? Just a workable example.
UB40, The Police, Elvis Presley, Adele. Did I go on?
So then to go back what you said, so they have taken our elements,
absolutely,
and used it to enhance themselves.
Yes,
basically.
Yeah,
and given no credit to the person who originated the concept.
That's pretty much how appropriation works.
And if you break that down to Latin, that's what an alien really is. An alien, if you go to the Latin definition of an alien, it's not some extraterrestrial in the sky. In the middle of the word alien is the word lie. Alien in Latin means a foreigner who comes into your community, takes your thing and uses it as their own. So this is what they've done. They've become invaders in our music, taking our music and using it as their own, and not giving credit to the original artists like Justin Bieber.
Well, you're not really talking about becoming. You're not really talking about becoming an invader. You're talking about, that's pretty much how it's been since day one. You've always been the invader. You've always taken that approach, and the outcomes are not necessarily ever going to be any different when you're confronted with that type of individual or group.
Well, I want to just jump in and just to ride on to what the vibration of the music and what Theo was saying, and also what Jammers was saying as well, that if you look at punk music and rock music, right, and you go to the crowd, right, the more they get to the music.
So after you do, I want to bring in Supreme, because I know he's an expert in punk and rock music. So
the more they go to the music, the more aggressive they are. In fact, they start smashing the guitar, smashing upon each other. You know what I mean? It's the music, right? Where with us now, right, the more we get into the music, the more vibes we feel spiritually connected, and it's a different kind of energy, you see? And it's quite interesting if you observe that kind of behavior of these people.
Yeah, and I think what it is as well, if you look at the science behind us, we've got different chemicals in us, so the very vibrations are causing different reactions, and as you said,
you see what I'm saying. But that's why it comes to the thing. Theo's talking about the chakras now, right? Because I'm making an observation or assumption that once you start to connect with the music, and if you're because we are vibration, it raises the level of the chakras inside of you and so forth. You start with the root chakra. That's what most of us on the root chakra, and the last side, the envy and the ego and everything. But once you start to do your rituals, start working yourself and start connecting yourself kind of music, everything, it raises the vibration of the chakras and the vibration and so forth, the higher level, And let's face it, our artists, they are some of the, most of them are just genius out there. Could they raise that kind of vibration?
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Just going to open the phone lines if you want to call us and contribute. The number for the Bless line is 079 444 131366. Once again, the Bless line to share your views is 079 444 31366. Supreme, bring us back into this.
Greetings once again to Bless listeners. The Slang Tang is in the Guinness Book of Records, actually, right?
Really?
As being the most versioned track ever, as a reggae track. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people have done songs on it. All right, let me just give you a little background here. It says Slang Ting is the name given to one of the first computerized rhythms influenced by Jamaican music. The rhythm was created by a collaboration with King Jammies and Wayne Smith, was titled Under Miss Langton in 1984, so that's when we saw the turnaround. Wayne Smith found a computerized sound in Noel Davies' keyboard, and together he and Davey arranged the rhythm, slowed it down, matched it to Smith's key. So he matched it to his voice, which is quite good. Most inspired, Barrington Levy, Yellowman's under me fat thing. There's quite a few. There's quite a few. Johnny Osborne, Tenor Saw, and Jammy's own sound system was one. Nuff Clash using that rhythm track because he owns it. So if he's a sound system, he owns the rhythm. No other sound can come and clash it with his own rhythm. Even though I think Channel 1 tried to do a different version of this Leng Cheng, but yeah.
So I think that is a message really for anybody who's an artist. You have to own your things, own your own rhythm, get your publishing, you have to own the publishing. So this is what we need to do. We need to achieve ownership now, to start redeveloping ourselves. The word ownership comes from them who stole everything from us. We were the source of all their wealth, was the owners of the ship. So that's where the word ownership comes from. Them who stole the stuff from us. This is key. But I think the real thing that is the chakra and the raising. Sophia, can you just go back into that element of the effect of music and how it raises us as a people to a higher level?
Well, you was talking about, when you would go to a dance and, anticipate the enjoyment that you're going to have when you dance with a girl to Lovers Rock. The interesting thing about that really is I'm coming at this.
So there's a story after Dougie, because I know Dougie's got a very good experience on dancing. So. He's a legend with it. So keep.
Oh yes, he does. Yeah. Dougie's got some skills. So.
So yes, for your carry on, yes.
And, but you see, you made that remark as though, you're not really thinking about non-shackles when you're anticipating that whole kind of thing. But then, you're not really considering that, because see now, back then, we never knew anything about the effects that it's actually having on us and what it actually originates, what it actually means. All you know is that, I remember when I was young, you'd go out to a rave and it's like, you're literally kind of like keeping score, and you're coming out and then say, yeah. If you get some really good results, you feel good. But it's what you don't realize is that because you are actually raising yourself up at another level that you are not even really considering. That's one of the reasons why you're going home feeling so good. If you've managed to get even more on top of that, like, a couple of numbers and everything, well, that's all well and good. But that aspect of it is very little considered, and certainly wasn't really a consideration at the time. But it's actually there. Of course, it starts off, down at that level where you're actually making all the contact. But it's pretty much feeding into your whole kind of spiritual, level, and also your physiology at a certain level. So there's a healing aspect to it.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Dougie, would you like to bounce off what you were saying?
Yes, definitely. What Theo said, and Theo said something very key: the feeling of the physiology of the individual. Now, let me show you the power of mirroring somebody.
Mirroring, what's that? Is that when you
mirroring
stand in front of a mirror? No.
Well, mirroring is where you're actually copying somebody.
Right. Okay.
Right. So you're anchoring their breathing, their movement, and what you've done.
But you're going to some science now, yeah?
Yeah. We don't know science. This is very powerful. I'm going to say here. You can understand the power of this now, right?
Go.
You can actually communicate that person by just mirroring them, right? Just anchoring their breathing, so you can communicate with them. Now then, in dancing, right, there's a rhythmic movement. You're both in tune to each other. You're breathing. You're angry with each other. So you're communicating to some point, right? You could have them in a trance. You're both in a trance.
Boy, Dougie, I just thought you was holding up the wall. I never realised you did.
No. You see, and Theo knows about this because this is proven all the time, right? If you want to communicate with someone or get through to somebody, right, all you have to do is just anchor their breathing, and just mirror them, and you communicate with that person. You can have them under control, right? That's what happened in the dancing. That's why the lovers drop now, right? I still brought it to the table now. That when you hear them kind of music, there, you know, you see someone, whether you mirror them, right? You anchor them, you know, the breathe and everything, and then that rhythmic, and then you're raising up that vibration and so forth. You know, very, very powerful. Right. We're doing things right, we don't know what we're doing, but we know it's powerful.
Behind it, yeah, because if you look at the youth nowadays, especially the male and female relationship, as you're saying, once in the dance, you're motivated to move to another person, you know, and communicate with them, as you're saying, with a higher science. The music nowadays is not geared towards love in a certain way.
But you see, in a dance, in a wine bar party, or in a dance, right, a man could be way over the side of the room there in a Ross, right? And him see a girl over there, so right? He will find him weird. Squeeze through and Jim squeeze here and say, yeah, my talk, but when he's supposed to say he want to dance, that woman over there saying, he bypass you. You're alright. He have one eye over there, so, and because the music. And he find next thing you know, see the boy over there, a dance a woman that just lock off. You know? That's the power of the music. See?
You know? And I think it is geared towards, you know, the men and us as a community come together. When nowadays the music is more to where you're posing with your chain, you're throwing your champagne over your shoes, and you know, so it's not moving. There's no movement towards.
No. And it's a nice little vibe when you see. You know, when you're in a party or a dance, right? And you see certain men stand one side, women on the other side. All of a sudden, later on, everybody just lock off. You know, don't know, they just lock off and just in some kind of trance, you know what I mean? See? You know, so it's powerful.
Yeah, Supreme?
Me? I'm just so...
Is it a trance?
You know what? Brother Dougie just took me right to the club in the dark corner. I was just rubbing it. I was.
We're gonna have to turn up.
It was almost like he was using.
It's a family. You're gonna get me struck off the show, Supreme.
Yeah, it was almost like he was using hypnotherapy on me. Like, yeah. Now let's go back to where the problem first started. Yes, I met her in the dark corner. I reached out. She said no, so I went for a friend. That's where it went wrong.
But hold on, this is a true story though, right? Jamus had a boat dance.
Me?
Right? Remember you had
Yeah,
boat dance?
go.
Right? And you invite me?
Yes.
And I met this girl there, and me was in a trance, right?
You mean rub up?
We're trying to go at a higher level.
True.
We're using a different word, you know. So.
It's true, Jamus. Music, right? And you're responsible for that, you know.
What?
Yeah. Because you invite me. That time I didn't even know Jamus took him. He said, boy, I'm have a thing down, whatever, East London, some of the Docklands.
Yeah.
We said, yeah, man, I'm going to bring a sister with me, right? We go there, and meet. No, I didn't meet a sister. I met someone there.
Right.
Because of your music, because of them lovers rock and them music you play. You know what I mean? And you got me in some kind of trance. And I tell you who was there as well, Ken Hines.
Ken Hines was
First
there.
time I met him, he dropped me home.
Oh wow. Well.
He dropped me home. It's true, you.
Me? So I'm responsible for all of this.
You're responsible for everything, man. And the girl broke up my heart as well. You! I'll make me cry.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get Dougie to calm down now, so I'm going to play a little track and then we'll be back. Thank you.
You know the big sound, you know? Jam Master. Because man like David Jam.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
That's a serious thing, isn't it? Yeah, some people don't want to see the increase of that population right there.
Yeah. So how would you say that nowadays, the youth nowadays, how do they, you know, form relationships? What do you say, and how does you reckon the music is the influence first for you? The relationship we had, I would say, our music was geared towards forming relationships in lovers rock. You know, geared towards the male and female having communication. You know, so how would you say nowadays, the society, the youngsters especially, how do you think they communicate with each other and the effect of the music?
I'm not sure if the music that's there. Well, if you listen to the kind of thing, you ever heard of this woman called is it Cardi B?
Oh, Cardi B, yeah.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah, Cardi
Have you
B.
heard that track that everybody thinks is really this is a big
The hit
thing,
tune now,
this track
yeah.
now.
For women, it's
I was walking through just past Twyford the other day, and this was blaring out one of the someone's flat, and honestly, I don't see the attraction of it. I'm not because of my background. I'm duty bound not to go around and say that any form of music is like crap, right? You see what I mean? But I listen to this woman, and she's like big over here. She's big in the States. Everyone thinks she's like she's all the rage right now, you know. And then I think of the likes of people like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jean Grey? Never heard of this woman? Anyway, and I'm thinking, how is it that this woman has such profile and a rapper like Jean Grey has like relatively none in comparison, right? But then if you look at what the content of Jean Grey's material as opposed to Cardi B, so you're playing it now. I didn't really want to hear it, to be quite honest.
People they might just get so they can hear the inkling of the first couple of bars of the track. You're just going to play a little couple of the bars. That's all you need to hear.
All right, yeah, that was it. Yeah, thank you for that. Whether and a lot of music that the young people listen to nowadays, I can't for sure say that really is going to kind of foster any kind of good relationships, form that kind of platform from which anything beneficial with some kind of longevity and a really kind of balanced outcome is going to occur with the kind of things that I hear young people are listening to. It's got nothing to do with how they're even going to dance with that, how they're going to relate to each other in that same way that Dougie was talking about, in which we can all go back and associate ourselves with the effect of Lovers Rock, the whole ambience it creates, the potential for future development between a man and a woman. I don't see any of that in the kind of music that these young people are listening to.
So if anybody wants to contribute, especially younger listeners, or anybody wants to contribute to what we're saying about the influence of music on the younger people's relationship, the line to call is 07 9 777 31366. Once again, 07 9 444 31366. Sorry if you're saying about the music and you can't see. I just want to just intercept a little bit as well. So basically, it looks like if we came from a high spiritual place where the music originally was created, it's like to me it seems like the behaviour is going back to caveman behaviour now, where it's just grunts and groans, and it's about what you possess, you know, materially rather than who you relate to. So.
Well, what I wanted to go for, before I even go on that aspect of things, let's look at the setting in which all this takes place, right? So, all right, you'd have alcohol there. This is our raves back then. You have alcohol, you have man burning a spliff and everything like that. All right, cigarettes, what have you. Where youngsters rave now, and what they listen to, you've got a completely different environment in which all of this takes place, right? I mean, could you even? I mean, it's hard enough to talk to somebody in a party anyway, right? The kind of stuff that is it's all very high BPM, phonetic. What kind of associations are you making in that kind of environment, right? Not only that, right? We're talking about, you know, we didn't touch on this much, but you're talking about frequencies along the dimension of the music scale, right?
Right. Can you go into that now?
Well, yeah. I'm just gonna briefly touch on that, right? So, I mean, if you go if you want to get really technical, right? Okay, every note is a frequency along the sound spectrum, right? Yeah. Now you're going to combine that.
Sorry, Phil. Could the listeners get their notebooks out here?
I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go real deep on it. I'm just going to try and bullet point this, right? So I don't really putting people up to sleep. So that's what I just said. So, right, frequencies across the sound spectrum. Combine that with these very close, tight environments, and it's darkened, and you have strobes in there. You've got these laughing gas things, little canisters that you see lying down on the street and everything. Lots of bodies, lots of body heat. All of this combines and it produces the same way that our environment, we would listen to Lovers Rock and do our thing, the same way these different environments, they produce a certain behavioral disposition. Is that conducive to forming the foundation of meeting someone and then going off on a relationship? Or is it going to lead to something short term? Something wham bam thank you? Is that what it's going to lead to? I'm only asking the question. I don't want to make improper assumptions about it, but you have all those ingredients that are involved in these settings that young people associate with each other in, and then also, not to mention the fact that when it was us in those environments, it was mainly just us. Whole heap of melanin mixing up with each other, as long as the spiritual vibes as well. And that is diminished significantly. So it's just a question I'm asking. And maybe I should actually, maybe get one of those kind of like latex kind of makeup thing and make myself look like a really young brethren and go in there and just do a little documentary style thing with my little camera phone and film the antics and see precisely what goes down, because I don't go to these places, so I don't really know for sure. You know what I mean?
So pretty much I'd like to bring you get out of this trance and come into the...
I want to mention some records, but the names of those records, I don't want to implant that in a seed in people's brain, because music is like that, What you just played there was very trancing and hypnotic. Even the beat is still there. It's called that earworm to me, what they call it. It was playing and playing around in my head, right? And I just caught...
So why would you say this kind of beat has been created? You think it's to hook people in?
Yeah, if you listen to it carefully, there's not much going on. It's very sparse, very sparse music. It's like, I remember when Dizzy Rascal first came out, I thought, what a load of nonsense. Crash Bang Wallop, I call it. If you listen to the beat, it was Crash Bang Wallop. Crash Bang Wallop. Look, it was Fix Up, Look Smart. Is it Fix Up, Look Smart? It was just, to me, I thought, there's no way the man win a Mercury off the rubbish. I respect him, but I thought, his rubbish she was churning out. Fix Up, Look Smart. Fix Up, Look Smart. There was no lyrics, there's no real melody, there's nothing. It just Crash Bang Wallop. Now, I'm getting back to what you asked, Theo question. Music now is about buying into that personality, buying into the profanity, buying into the thug lifestyle, buying into the aggression, and that's what the youngsters are on. They're on buying into Kanye West's lifestyle with his wife. So if they're wearing what they're wearing, if they're doing what they're doing, this is what they're buying into. So music has changed. It's not about, you know what, I listen to the radio and I like that track, I'm going to the record shop to buy it. No, the visual side of it is, I want to see pain. So when I've seen these young guys, when they go to talk to a girl, they're not talking to the girl, they're telling the girl, number, now. It's all aggressive. You understand? So we realise that there's no real passion in music no more. I wish you could play that track too. I just hear a little bit of it and I can hear what is going on there, you know what I mean? That's Asylum. That's Senior Asylum, brethren.
Well, I'm just going to play another track to clean up the airwaves.
Anyway, what are you doing with that?
Clean up the airwaves. Well, I
found that really quickly, didn't you?
And then we'll be back. We are going to clean up the airwaves now.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Yes, I want to big up Siam, Big up your theaters, also brother Edison, also brother Dave, the Find Your Voice team, Ross Minty. Also, I want to big up Rose, and there's quite a few people I like to mention, and to big up those who are listening right now around the globe. Yeah.
We got any event coming up as well?
Oh yes. Well, this Saturday, our roads lead to the Chestnut Community Centre. That's 280 St. Anne's Road. The Lighthouse will be hosting an event focused around personal development, and there will be some artists there will be performing. I know Jammers will be with one of the speakers. Also, Siam will be speaking, talking about whole thing about spirituality and whole thing about vibration and just connecting ourselves to who we really are. Jammers talking about the whole thing about the words. As you know, he's a wordsmith, so he'll be sharing his information with us, and there'll be many top artists will be there. And when we was there on the 7th, it really was a powerful event, but this one's going to be very powerful, and there'll be many people coming in there. So that starts from 3 to 10. Also, let people know that we'll be hosting an event at the Pathview Academy on the 18th. We have a special guest from Jamaica who will be coming in and talking about the history of reggae music. Also, there'll be some artists and poetry, and other people will be speaking as well. And that's from 3 to 8. And on the 23rd at the Chestnut Community Centre, we'll have a debate. Rasmita will be the moderator, and that will be the role of religion in the Caribbean. Again, it'll be by Dr. Patrick Hilton, and that starts from 6 to 9, and again it's Chestnut Community Centre. So, but over the weeks I will let people know, because you know.
Yeah, I know you've got a lot of events coming up. Yeah, but definitely this Saturday is going to be. And
you're part of the panel on the 23rd as well, yeah?
I've been told.
Okay,
I've been told. You know, we haven't discussed the fee yet, but yeah.
Okay then, fantastic.
And I'll be down on this Saturday as well, Chestnuts.
You'll be speaking as well, yeah.
It was great last time, and make sure you're there, support the community, and that's a Chestnut. Theo, you got any shout outs and what you got going on as well?
Well, seeing as this mic, okay, so yeah, I'm just looking at this ticket.
You got anybody you want to
make? I'm gonna shout out to my Speakers Club affiliates here. So Richard and all the actors at Back Theatre, Dr. Abu Ratata. This is the man. You know what I mean? This is a no holds barred commentator on social and community issues. Man, this big shout out to him, and of course, the delectable Lady Essie, my girl Kim, Buzzing B and Star. And a special mention to Michael Watson, who acquitted himself quite admirably at the recent Speak Out Live London interview at Marcus Garvey Centre.
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting what Brother Dougie said, because I went to the event I think it was 2 weeks ago at Chestnuts, and there was a group on stage that I was really impressed with. I think they were called Native Son. I don't know if I got is that the correct name? Now, when I heard and I saw this group, it brought me back to the days when music was music, yeah?
What kind of stuff was they doing?
It was kind of a hip-hop. The vocalist there, the girl vocalist was good, and she was accompanied by the guy who was doing the MC and the hip-hop style. It was they had a bounce. They had a brilliant bounce between two of them, you know, and they had a little someone doing percussion behind them, and it reminded me back of the days when I used to go Covent Garden to the Spot to find singers, right? And that's something that I think is missing. These little sort of spots where you find real singers.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Yeah, so right now, once again, I'd like to thank each and everyone for tuning in. This is Bless Radio, Jam Master Show with Robert Doggy, Theo, and DJ Supreme.
Hello, mate.
Wagwan.
What day of the week is it?
What you ask me them question for?
I just wanted to know.
It's Thursday.
Oh.
And you know what I go on Thursday?
No, tell me, mate.
It's the Jam Master Show.
Alright.
On Bless Radio.
Nice one.
Things sweet like Jamaican mango. Put a G and a O, that spells go.
Love it, mate.
Remember to turn on your radio and switch on your stereo.
Alright, I'm doing that now.
Oh, DJ Jammers, I play right now.
Cheers.